Chapter 113. 10 minutes passed. The king beast, the black-backed war bear, had not yet been killed by Yi Tian. Although it was covered with injuries and bleeding, soaking the earth into a bloody field, it was still fighting, and it was very strong. On the other hand, Yi Tian, although he was not injured, had consumed a lot of physical strength, and his Yuan Li also diminished significantly. At this moment, Yi Tian launched a pseudo-mystic level talent, the blood-devouring talent. Swallow. A large amount of the black-backed war bear's blood flew into Yi Tian's mouth, and he swallowed it in one gulp, replenishing his physical strength and yuan power. This is the horror of the blood-eating talent, which can devour blood to restore its strength and keep fighting, while the black-backed war bear cannot recover its injuries and strength. Yi Tian looked back at the Linhai base and immediately frowned. There are too many fierce beasts. At least tens of thousands of martial artists have died. If this continues, the Linhai base will not be able to hold it. Immediately, Yi Tian made a decision. Teleport. Yi Tian instantly moved to the black-backed battle bear's eyeball. Then, his full force pierced through the black-backed war bear's eyes, and the terrifying sword aura penetrated into the black-backed war bear's head. But at that moment, the black-backed war bear's slap also knocked Yi Tian away. At the moment when he was knocked away, Yi Tian activated two major talents. Pseudo-arcane defensive talent, pseudo-mystic level Vajra bone talent. The two pseudo-mystic level talents withstood the blow of the king beast, allowing Yi Tian to defend against the attack, but his internal organs were still injured by the shock. Top healing talent. Yi Tian's injuries quickly recovered under the top healing talent. But at this time, the black-backed war bear screamed in pain and suffered a brain injury, which was a serious injury. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Tian once again used teleportation to launch several attacks on the black-backed war bear, each time aiming at the black-backed war bear's eyeball wound attack. After a few times, the black-backed war bear's aura became weaker and weaker, and he finally collapsed to the ground. After confirming that the black-backed war bear was dead, Yi Tian didn't even have time to collect the blood of the king-level fierce beast, and immediately went to support Old Man Li and them. Yi Tian teleported a much longer distance than before. One teleportation was enough to cross 10 kilometers, and after many teleportations, he came to the city wall. He was not afraid of being discovered by teleportation. After all, these people couldn't see that it was teleportation at all. They just thought that Yi Tian's speed was too fast. Die! Yi Tian slashed out with a single sword, and countless sword lights carried 2% of the sword intent, bombarding and killing one fierce beast after another. Even the top fierce beasts could hardly withstand a single sword light. Kill! 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 Yi Tian's speed was so fast, like cutting leeks, killing the dense beasts one after another. With Yi Tian's joining, the pressure on the martial artists in the Linhai base dropped greatly. In less than half an hour, hundreds of thousands of fierce beasts were all wiped out, and even the top fierce beasts on Little Blood's side were mostly killed by Little Blood, leaving only a few faster fierce beasts to escape, but they were also quickly caught up by Yi Tian and killed one after another. At this point, this time, the tide of fierce beasts came to an end for the time being. Seeing that the beast tide had receded, the ordinary warriors became happy and ran outside the base one by one to collect the blood of the fierce beast and the corpse of the fierce beast. But Yi Tian, Old Man Li, and the others did not relax. They knew the reason for the beast tide this time, and what they were killing in front of them was just a small beast tide, not the main army of fierce beasts. The beast tide ended temporarily. Yi Tian flew to the place where the king beast black-backed war bear died, and collected the blood of the king-level fierce beast, a total of about 10,000 copies. This is mainly because the body of the black-backed war bear is too big, and the blood is naturally very much. As for the corpse of the black-backed war bear, Yi Tian also gave him a little blood. Although Little Blood likes to drink the blood of fierce beasts, he also likes to eat the meat of fierce beasts, which is similar to the way fierce beasts improve their strength. Master! Little Blood ran over. What's the matter? Yi Tian asked. Xiao Shui was a little embarrassed and said, Master, can the blood of those top fierce beasts I hunt belong to me? Yi Tian laughed, patted Xiao Shui's head, and said, Okay, give it to you. Give it all to you. Xiao Blood was overjoyed, but he still didn't leave, but flattered, Master, I remember that you have a lot of storage bags. I don't have one yet. There is too much blood of those fierce beasts. I can't drink it all at once. Can you give me a few storage bags? Here you go. Yi Tian took 2 storage bags from his body, put all the contents into his personal space, and after emptying the storage bags, he erased the mark of the storage bag before handing them over to Xiao Shui. Xiao Shui hurriedly refined the storage bag, very happy. It remembered that Xiao Zi had a storage bag on his body, and every time he took out some of the things he had stored from it, the convenience of the storage bag made it very appealing. This time, I finally took the opportunity to get 2 storage bags from the owner. HMPH, the storage bag is mine, and the master won't give it to me. Xiao Shui made a small calculation and said secretly. Swish! It hurriedly ran to the place where the top beasts died, collected the blood on the corpses of the top beasts, and directly put it into the storage bag. Soon, both storage bags were filled with ferocious blood. The rest of the fierce beast blood, it frantically devoured into the body, and immediately began to refine, with the help of the fierce beast blood to improve its strength. It took 3 full days for the corpses of the fierce beasts outside the base to be disposed of, and every household received a large amount of fierce beast meat and blood, and the warriors who died in the battle also received a large amount of compensation. Lin family, a meeting begins. Sect Master Yi, it has been counted. A total of 12,123 martial artists were killed in this battle, while ordinary people died, about 20,000. Lin Wanli reported to Yi Tian. Why did so many ordinary people die? Yi Tian frowned. Because several high-level fierce beasts rushed into the base, there were not so many hidden underground, and many ordinary people were reluctant to enter the underground, so they were affected. Due to the lack of the number of warriors, the killing was a little late, which caused such a tragic situation. Lin Wanli said helplessly. Yi Tian sighed. This is also something that can't be helped. There are too many fierce beasts, and under the impact of hundreds of thousands of fierce beasts, it is already very good that the coastal base can be preserved. For the record, the casualties at the Linhai base can even be said to be too light. Sect Master Yi, what should I do next? The beast tide shouldn't be over, right? Old man Li finally spoke. It shouldn't be over. I want to take a look at the situation of the Demon Sea base. As for here, you should pay attention to the situation in the field at any time. This is a liaison. You can send some simple information to me. Even if I am in the Demon Sea base, you can contact me. If there is really a beast tide coming, remember to contact me. Yi Tian commanded. Lord Yi Tian, are you going to the Demon Sea base? Old man Li's expression changed drastically. Actually, he wasn't worried about Yi Tian's safety, but he was afraid that Yi Tian would be gone, and there would be no one to protect the Linhai base. Although Yi Tian promised to come to the rescue at any time, what if he really encountered a crisis and didn't have time to rescue? Therefore, he naturally hoped that Yi Tian would always stay at the Linhai base. I've made up my mind, so be it. After Yi Tian finished speaking, he left, not giving everyone a chance to speak at all. Chapter 114. Little Blood, let's go. Yi Tian jumped on Xiao Shui's back, and Little Blood flew into the air, soaring in the direction of the Demon Sea base. Soon, Little Blood approached the Demon Sea base, but he didn't get too close. Boom! 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 The sound of battle echoed in the distance. What a fierce battle! Yi Tian's pupils shrank, and he was secretly surprised. Far away, dense beasts were besieging the Demon Sea base, attacking together in the sky and underground. In the sky, there was a group of flying fierce beasts and many king beasts, constantly attacking defensive formations. Meanwhile, underground, there was a large number of top-level fierce beasts, high-level fierce beasts, and countless middle and low-level fierce beasts. Their numbers could no longer be counted. In terms of scale alone, this army of fierce beasts was at least 100 times larger than the group of fierce beasts faced by the Linhai base, and the quality was much higher. But all the while, there was a fierce beast that didn't do anything. It was a golden ape, not very tall, only about 50 meters tall, but its momentum seemed to run through the sky, and even ordinary king beasts were like ants in front of it. Suddenly, the ape looked at Yi Tian, and just one glance made Yi Tian feel cold. Great terror! Yi Tian truly realized the power of this ape beast. He was at least 100 kilometers away from the other party, and he looked at the other party from an altitude of 1,000 meters, but he was discovered by the other party. However, After this, Golden Ape only glanced at Yutien. He didn't care. "Do you think I'm too weak to do anything?" Yutien muttered. That's right, his superficial cultivation is just a grandmaster who has only refined a meridian, and the Golden Ape doesn't have the ability to see through his talent, so naturally, he doesn't care about a little grandmaster. Enter the Demon Sea base first and ask about the situation. Yutien watched the battle for a while, and then decided. Judging from the current situation, the fierce beasts shouldn't turn around and attack a weak Linhai base. Even if they attack the Linhai base, it will be after breaking through the Demon Sea base. Therefore, it was a waste of time for Yutien to stay in the Linhai base. It was better to enter the Demon Sea base to investigate the situation. Comparatively speaking, the Demon Sea base must know more about the situation. Thereupon, Yutien flew towards the Demon Sea base from another direction. There were several flying beasts along the way to intercept Yutien, but they were killed by Yutien. Many of the formation portals in the Demon Sea base were closed, but when Yutien took out his identity card and the Formation Mage badge, he was allowed to enter the Demon Sea base, and a small formation portal was temporarily opened to allow Yutien to enter. After entering the base, he obviously sensed that the Demon Sea base was much more depressed. After all, many martial artists were fighting outside. Yutien didn't know if Yu Ling was fighting outside, but he still tried to contact Yu Ling. "Yutien, are you back? Wait for me." Yu Ling used the liaison device to send this message. Soon after, Yutien finally saw Yu Ling again. "You're hurt?" Yutien obviously saw that Yu Ling's condition was very bad. His face was a little pale, and one hand was a little weak. Obviously his arm was seriously injured. "Well, I entered a battlefield and was seriously injured. If it wasn't for the rescue of a top grandmaster of the family, I don't think I would have been able to come back. But fortunately, because of the injury, this gave him the opportunity to retreat to the interior of the base." Yu Ling smiled bitterly. Immediately, she asked, "How's the Linhai base?" Yutien said truthfully, "There was also a beast tide, but the strength of the fierce beasts was not strong, and I solved it." Solved? Yu Ling was surprised. She wouldn't really believe that the beast tide besieging a base would be very weak. There were definitely a large number of top-level fierce beasts, maybe even king beasts, but Yutien solved the beast tide. This strength is absolutely incredible. By the way, how is my sister? Before Yutien left, he asked Yu Ling to take care of his sister, and let Yu Ling take him back to Yu's house. "Your sister is fine," Yu Ling said. "Your sister is just an elite martial artist. Except for a very small number of elite martial artists who are old and have little potential, the other elite martial artists are still inside the base. If it's a great warrior, then you must be forced to enter the battlefield." After listening, Yutien breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that his sister is okay. That's his only relative in this world. Now the battle situation seems to be very tragic. "Do you know the specific situation?" Yutien asked again. Yu Ling sighed and said, "It's very complicated. This time, within a radius of 100,000 miles, 3 large bases have been attacked, and each of them has been attacked by a large number of fierce beasts, and the 3 fierce beast armies are all led by an invincible king beast." Invincible king beast. Yutien thought of that golden ape, which should be the invincible king beast. The invincible king beast is just like the invincible king level among human beings. It almost has an invincible existence of the same level, and its strength is very terrifying. Even if it is a very powerful king level, it belongs to the ants in front of the invincible king level. Just like him, he can be called an invincible grandmaster. At the same time, there is also a saying that the invincible king level or the invincible king beast has the existence of a higher level of killing a higher level. Is there a way for the Demon Sea base to deal with that invincible king? Yutien didn't know if there was an invincible king level in the Demon Sea base. If not, it would be troublesome. No. Yu Ling shook his head. There is currently no invincible king level in the Demon Sea Grand base. In fact, there was originally one, that is, the ancestor of the Yun family, but that one went to the super base and is now trying to contact the other party. However, the Yun family urged the one thing that was left behind, and released the breath of the invincible king, which made the invincible king outside the base jealous, thinking that there was an invincible king level in the base, so he didn't dare to really do it. Otherwise, once that one makes a move, I'm afraid that the defensive formation of the Demon Sea Great Base may not be able to block it for a long time. But after a long time, it will definitely be discovered, and we can only hope that the Yun family ancestor can return in time. Yi Tian frowned. He didn't expect the situation in the Demon Sea Base to be so grim, and now it was completely delaying time. Yi Tian was a formation mage, so he didn't need to fight. But it's only now. Once the situation reaches a moment of crisis, let alone a formation mage, even a 15-year-old martial artist must go to the battlefield. Soon, Yi Tian was summoned by the Array Mage Association to refine the array plate and provide the array plate for the warriors on the battlefield. Each time you refine an array plate, you can kill more fierce beasts, so the task of the array mages is also very important. Yi Tian's task is to refine 50 primary array discs every day. There are not many tasks, and if he finishes refining, he can still have extra time to cultivate. Of course, refining one more primary array disc will also reward you with points, but the points of the Array Mage Association are now useless to Yi Tian, and besides, some low-level array discs can't change the situation at all, so Yi Tian naturally won't waste time refining so many array discs. So, Yi Tian used the extra time to cultivate. The war continues. Another 5 days have passed, and Yi Tian has not received a distress signal from the Linhai base. Obviously, the Linhai base is safe for the time being. My current physical strength is already the power of 13 elephants, but unfortunately, even if I have the pseudo-arcane power talent and the green wind slash, this strength can only deal with some weak king beasts. Yi Tian muttered. However, at this moment, Yu Ling sent a piece of good news. Chapter 115. The ancestor of the Yun family is back. Hearing this news, even Yi Tian looked overjoyed. The Yun family ancestor returned, and the Demon Sea Base could at least be saved, which was a good thing for Yi Tian. He didn't want the Demon Sea Base to be destroyed, and he didn't want to flee with his sister. Soon, the news of the Yun family's ancestors' return spread throughout the Demon Sea Base, and the high-level leaders of the Demon Sea Base breathed a sigh of relief. During this time, their losses were not small. The Grandmasters didn't know how many had fallen, and even a few king levels had perished. If the Yun family ancestor didn't come back, they feared the fierce beasts wouldn't be able to wait to launch a general attack. At that time, the invincible king beast would definitely attack, and the Demon Sea Base would be in danger. On the second day after the Yun family ancestor returned, Yu Ling informed Yi Tian that the Yun family had discussed with other major forces and was preparing to counterattack the fierce beasts, defeat them, and relieve the crisis of the Demon Sea Great Base. In this battle, all strong individuals above the great martial artist level must be dispatched. Even a formation mage like Yi Tian must take action, for on the battlefield, a formation mage can truly exert the power of the formation. This day, Yi Tian followed the large army of martial artists into the battlefield. Hundreds of thousands of strong individuals above the great martial arts level occupied an area of thousands of miles. Compared to the fierce beasts, the number of human martial artists was undoubtedly much rarer. But humans also have advantages, such as the ability to use weapons, the use of formations, the ability to use healing items to heal injuries, higher intelligence, and so on. Therefore, the difference in numbers has little impact. What really dominates the battle situation is the battle of the king level, especially the battle between the invincible king level and the invincible king beast. The Yun family ancestor and the invincible king beast, whichever can win between the two determines which side wins the war. High in the sky, the ancestor of the Yun family appeared. He was dressed in white, and his appearance was very young, like a handsome son. Yun Mengli, the ancestor of the Yun family, has a woman-like name, but his record is very prominent. In the Grandmaster realm, he once killed 3 king beasts in a battle, and after stepping into the king level, he was invincible at the king level in just 10 years, and then retreated and cultivated, not asking about the world. No one knew that he had already left the Demon Sea Base and entered the Super Base. If it weren't for this Beast Tide incident, Yun Mengli would still be in the Super Base. Retreat, Yun Mengli said coldly. He said it to the Golden Ape, trying to get the Golden Ape to lead the herd away. However, the Golden Ape bared its teeth and grinned, as if mocking Yun Mengli. Without saying a word, they went straight to war. Boom! 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 The two invincible beings were fighting at a height of 10,000 meters, and the void was extremely shaking. If ordinary martial artists dared to look at the sky, they would be shocked and dizzy. Below, the warriors and the fierce beasts were fighting together. The picture was very tragic. The whole battlefield was like a meat grinder. Even the Grand Master did not dare to guarantee his life. Yi Tian was with the Yu family's team. Several formation mages of the Yu family urged a set of advanced formations, covering a radius of 10 miles, and frantically slaughtering groups of fierce beasts. The corpses of the fierce beasts were densely packed all over the land, and even the top fierce beasts could not last long under the attack of the advanced formation. Little brother Yi Tian, you can rest. You have maintained the formation for half an hour, and it is very depleting of spiritual power and yuan power. So, let me come. An old man spoke. He was an intermediate formation mage of the Yu family, named Yu Lai, but his strength was only at the level of a great martial artist, so he exhausted his yuan power in just a few minutes and ran to the side to rest. Now, he had recovered. I'm fine. You can go and help the other array mages. Yi Tian said. He didn't tell a lie. Although maintaining a high-level formation was indeed very taxing on yuan power and physical strength, and even his spiritual power had been consumed a lot, his feet were full of the corpses of fierce beasts, and a large amount of blood was around him. He secretly urged the blood-devouring talent, absorbing the blood power to restore physical strength, and full of vitality. Even if he forcibly overused his vitality to urge the formation, he could quickly replenish it. After all, the blood-devouring talent truly replenished vitality, and physical strength and yuan power were only incidental. But Yu Lai thought that Yi Tian was just holding on, so he came to persuade Yi Tian to rest. Suddenly, Yu Lai's face changed greatly. It's not good. A king beast has rushed into the formation, and everyone in our Yu family is in danger. The grandmasters of the Yu family all killed fierce beasts within the formation, and it was unrealistic to kill so many fierce beasts simply by relying on advanced formations. They needed the cooperation of the grandmaster martial artists. Only in this way could the fierce beasts have no way to destroy the formation and let the power of the formation harvest them one after another. But now, the king beast rushed over, and the grandmasters of the Yu family couldn't stop it at all. Yu Lai, you will preside over the formation, and I will enter the formation. Yi Tian hurriedly said. Yi Tian, you are a formation mage. How can you enter the formation inside? Yu Lai was in a hurry, afraid that Yi Tian would lose his life. However, Yi Tian had already rushed in, and Yu Lai could only preside over the formation and replace Yi Tian when he saw this. Inside the formation, many of the Yu family's grandmasters looked at the king beast that had just rushed in with despair on their faces. Although it was not a very powerful king beast, it was not something that a grandmaster could deal with. Unless it is a grandmaster with both king-level attack power and king-level speed, it can deal with king beasts. Such a grandmaster is enough to be called a quasi-invincible grandmaster. But there was no such quasi-invincible grandmaster here, and the Yu family's king level was on another battlefield, so there was no time to support them at all. Are you going to die? Yu Ling looked at the terrifying king beast in despair and thought secretly. She saw that the two extremely strong masters of the Yu family rushed over. Both of them had medium swordsmanship talents, and they could exert several times the attack power when they used their bronze-level sword skills, which was comparable to the attack power of the weakest king beast. But in terms of speed and defense, they were far inferior. And this king beast was not the weakest king beast, and its attack power had reached 1,000 elephants. Rumble. The king beast slapped away the two Yu family's grandmasters, those extremely strong ones. Suddenly, the sword light shattered, and the two grandmaster extreme powerhouses flew out upside down in disarray, not knowing whether they were alive or dead. Just as Yu Ling and the other grandmasters were ready to activate their desperate moves, ready to fight to the death with numbers, a figure appeared in front of the king beast. It's him. There was a grandmaster of the Yu family who recognized Yi Tian. It was that grandmaster Yu Ben. And Yu Ling also noticed Yi Tian, and couldn't help shouting, Yi Tian, you are not the opponent of that king beast. Go quickly. However, Yi Tian was still unmoved. He silently stared at the king beast, looking at the other party's talent. Species: Jin War Beast. Bloodline talent: extraordinary. This is a king beast without any special talent. Its bloodline talent is good. It has reached the transcendent level. If it continues to grow, it can grow to the extreme of the king level. If it really grows to the extreme of the king level, even if it doesn't have any talent, it can slap Yi-Tian in one blow. But it is far from growing to the extreme. It only has the power of 1,000 elephants, and it has not been very long since it entered the king beast level. Yi-Tian drew his knife and slashed, and the brilliant sword light broke through the air. Under the superposition of pseudo-arcane level strength talent and bronze level sword skills, it reached the peak level of one blow. The giant spirit war beast tried to grab Yi-Tian's sword with his hand, but his arm was cut off by a blow, and he screamed in pain. HMPH, the garbage king beast that doesn't even have the talent for defense is not as good as that black-backed war bear. Yi-Tian said with contempt. As soon as his body moved, another knife slashed away, and this blow slashed at the neck of the Jin war beast. The sword sliced through the neck of the Jin war beast without hindrance, almost decapitating it. Bang! The Jin war beast fell, and its vitality gradually faded. A king beast was killed by Yi-Tian like this. Not far away, everyone in the Yu family looked stunned and couldn't believe it. Chapter 116. Yi-Tian killed a king beast. Yu Ling couldn't believe that this was done by Yi-Tian. She knew a lot about Yi-Tian. She knew Yi-Tian when Yi-Tian was relatively weak, and she was also saved by Yi-Tian. But at that time, Yi-Tian's cultivation and strength were far inferior to her. She even regarded Yi-Tian as a high-level talent, and was ready to take him as her subordinate. How ridiculous that thought seemed now. Yi-Tian's talent is absolutely extraordinary. He has a very powerful sword talent, strength talent, and speed talent. He's become an invincible grandmaster. That's right, in Yu Ling's eyes, Yi-Tian undoubtedly deserved the title of invincible grandmaster. Killing a king beast with 2 swords? What is this if not an invincible grandmaster? Now, Yu Ling also finally understood why Yi-Tian was able to solve the beast tide crisis in the Linhai base. This was an invincible grandmaster. Even if an ordinary king beast attacked the Linhai base, it was not Yi-Tian's opponent. As long as he didn't encounter a king beast that was too powerful, Yi-Tian was almost invincible. His strength had been exposed, and Yi-Tian was no longer hiding, helping the Yu family to kill the top fierce beasts in the formation one by one. Then, Yu Ling walked over and looked at Yi-Tian with a look of surprise. Yi-Tian, I always thought that your strength was comparable to a powerful grandmaster at most, or even as extreme as a grandmaster, but I didn't expect that your strength would be comparable to a king level, and even be able to kill ordinary king level beasts. Good talent? No way. Yi-Tian was not modest at all. Yes, the talent is good. This is set by God. Yu Ling agreed with Yi-Tian's words very much, but she was still a little lonely in her heart. Compared with Yi-Tian, she was too weak and too ordinary. In the past, she still felt that she was at the same level as Yi-Tian, but Yi-Tian's combat power was stronger than his. She had the support of the Yu family, and she had obtained several opportunities, and she was expected to be at the king level in the future. Yi-Tian did not necessarily have a better future than her. Now that she thought about herself, she realized she had thought too highly of herself. The goal she had been striving for all her life was just a small role that could be casually killed in Yi-Tian's eyes. The gap between the two was very different. That's Yi-Tian's goal. Yu Ling's gaze looked up, where the battlefield between Yun Mengli and the invincible king beast was. Let's go and help other places. Yi-Tian patted Yu Ling's shoulder and said. Yu Ling came back to her senses and nodded. Phew. The two of them moved and entered other places to help other warriors kill the beasts. And high in the sky, Yun Mengli's battle with the invincible king beast was also coming to an end. At this time, Yun Mengli and the invincible king beast were both injured, but Yun Mengli's expression had always been very calm, while the invincible king beast was a little anxious. Retreat, I won't kill you, or you will die today. Yun Mengli threatened. How could the invincible king beast admit defeat? Now that it was on par with Yun Mengli, it was impossible to admit defeat. But suddenly, Yun Mengli took out something, and the invincible king beast's expression immediately changed. That's a bow. A golden longbow, containing mysterious patterns, full of supreme majesty. The invincible king beast didn't know the bow, but it felt a deadly threat from it. In normal times, if it encountered such an enemy, it would definitely flee. But it did not dare to escape. If it did, the being would not let it go. Roaring, the invincible king beast went crazy, and its blood was rolling. It was urging the power of its own bloodline, and its breath swelled violently. It was desperate. Damn! Beasts are crazy. Feng Mengli was furious. In desperation, he had to use the bow. This bow is a top-level Yuan soldier weapon, also known as a divine weapon. And the divine soldier is also divided into a low-grade divine soldier, a medium-grade divine soldier, and a high-grade divine soldier. It is said that there is a superb divine soldier beyond that. However, it was more reluctant to use his cultivation to urge a low-grade divine soldier. But this bow was a medium-grade divine soldier, and once he urged this golden longbow, he would have to be weak for several days. He didn't want to use the golden longbow unless it was a special case. But the invincible king beast would rather die in battle than retreat, and he could only fight to be weak for a few days, urging the mid-grade divine soldier longbow to kill the invincible king beast. Die! Yun Mengli poured the Yuan force, qi and blood of his whole body, and a part of his vitality into the longbow, forcibly urging the longbow. A golden arrow flew out, as if it had penetrated the space, and no matter how fast the invincible king beast was and how agile its reaction was, it couldn't dodge the golden arrow. Poof! The golden arrow pierced through the center of the invincible king beast's eyebrows, completely shattering its brain. Even if the invincible king beast was pierced through the head, it was truly dead. The invincible king beast was killed in battle, and its corpse fell down. Yun Mengli had the heart to collect the corpse of the invincible king beast, but his body was too weak to even maintain his flight. In desperation, he flew into the demon sea base and began to heal. Bang! The corpse of the invincible king beast, the golden ape, fell to the ground, attracting the attention of countless people and fierce beasts. That invincible beast was killed? Yi Tian saw the corpse of the invincible beast and was immediately shocked. Yun Mengli, who was also an invincible king level, actually killed the golden ape of the invincible beast level, which was really beyond Yi Tian's expectations. But that's a good thing. Ha 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 ha! Our Yun family ancestor has killed the invincible king beast. The ancestor has already transmitted the news. Wait for the ancestor to rest for a while, and then kill the king beasts among the fierce beasts. A Yun family's king level said excitedly. The momentum of the martial artists in the audience was boiling, and their combat power actually skyrocketed. The fierce beasts began to collapse because of the loss of the invincible king beast. Half an hour later, Yun Mengli flew out of the base and rejoined the battlefield. Soon, one king beast after another died at Yun Mengli's hands. The fierce beasts completely collapsed and fled, and the warriors pursued and killed all the way, not stopping the pursuit until they had chased 30,000 li. The next step was to clean up the battlefield. What everyone didn't know was that Yi Tian sneaked close to the corpse of the invincible king beast. When he was about 1,000 meters close to the invincible king beast, Yi Tian's copy talent covered the other party and checked the talent of this invincible king beast. Species: Golden Spirit Ape. Bloodline talent: Extraordinary. Defense talent: Medium. Strength talents: Medium. Speed talent: Medium. Soul transfer talent: High. Soul transfer talent? It was the first time that Yi Tian had encountered a transfer soul talent, and he was suddenly a little curious and interested. Copy. Yi Tian secretly copied this talent, and when he went back, he would know what it was for. As for the other talents, he didn't copy them. Those talents were too ordinary. This golden spirit ape is not too rebellious, and his cultivation should have reached the extreme of the king beast, but he does not have a high-level attacking talent. Even if he is an invincible king beast, it is also relatively weak among the invincible king beasts. Yi Tian judged. Soon, he also began to clean up the battlefield. 3 days later, after the battlefield was cleaned, Yi Tian returned home, and Yu Ling also sent Yi Yu back in person.